Hey everyone, it is story time. This is chapter 23. Jesus begins ministry. And it starts off like this. Jesus became wiser and stronger. He became more and more pleasing to God and to people. Luke 2:52. Jesus grew up in the small town of Nazareth. For 30 years, he lived an ordinary life with his family and friends. Everyone knew him as the son of a carpenter. That was until one day Jesus left his village and his ordinary life and stepped into the world to do amazing things in the name of God Almighty. Just like all the other babies in the world, baby Jesus grew up. He grew playing on the streets of Nazareth with the neighborhood boys and girls. He had brothers and sisters and learned how to get along with them. He watched Joseph in his workshop and became a carpenter just like his father. On the outside, he was just like any other Jewish boy in the village. But in the inside, he was very different. He was God's son. When Jesus was a grown man, he traveled to the Jordan River, where his cousin John was teaching and baptizing people. John's strange appearance and important message were the talk of the countryside. He would preach, "Be baptized, turn your hearts to God," and many would listen and obey. The banks of the river were covered with John's listeners when Jesus joined them. Jesus made his way through the crowd. He walked to the shore of the river. He stepped into the blue, deep waters of the Jordan and muddied his toes in the soggy river bank. Jesus asked John to baptize him, but John protested. No, you should be baptizing me." But Jesus put his hand on John's shoulder and calmly replied, "It's okay. It is good for us to do this." So there in the Jordan River, John baptized Jesus while all the other men and women watched from the shore. While Jesus stood up in the water, he began to pray. And the heavens opened up. The Spirit of God came floating down like a dove and rested on his shoulder. And then a voice from heaven boomed through the countryside, saying, "This is my Son, whom I love, and I am pleased with him." God spoke. He called Jesus his son. Now the people knew what God had known all along, that this carpenter from Nazareth was very, very special. God's message: on this day, the ordinary ends and the spectacular begins. Go and tell my people, I have remembered their promise. I have remembered my promise. Tell them that the Messiah is here. The son of a carpenter in Nazareth is the son of God Almighty, the creator of the world.